In this video, I'll explain you about non-serializable schedule. In previous video, I explained you about serial schedule and non-serial schedules, and in non-serial schedule, I explained you about serializable schedules, that is conflict serializable and view serializable schedule. In this video, I'll give you introduction about what is non-serializable schedule, and in further videos, we will learn different types of non-serializable schedule. So, what is a non-serializable schedule? A non-serial schedule which is not a serializable is called a non-serializable schedule. That means, see, a non-serializable schedule can be a serializable schedule if it is equivalent to its serial schedule. That means a non-serial schedule which leaves a database in consistent state same as a serial schedule, then we call it as a serializable schedule. We check it by in two ways, either conflict serializable or view serializable. So here a non-serial schedule which is not a serializable, that means which doesn't leave a database in consistent state, that type of non-serial schedule is called non-serializable schedule. Okay, a non-serializable schedule does not is not guarantee to leave a database in consistent state. So we sometimes a non-serializable schedule in may non sometimes a non-serial schedule a non-serializable schedule will be in consistency state or may not live in consistent state, and also the non-serializable schedules may be recovered or may not be recovered. These are the two conditions. Why? Because we are saying a non-serializable schedule is a schedule which is a non-serial schedule and is not serializable. That's why we are saying whether it leaves a database in consistence or not. It may be recovered, may not be recovered. Okay. Now, what do you mean by recoverability of a schedule? In previous classes, we learned while performing some transactions in a schedule, sometimes there may be failures. To recover that failures or to avoid failures, we are using two type of operations called rollback and commit. Okay, so and also we said that when we are performing a transaction in a schedule, the transaction should be successfully completed and should committed in the database. That means permanently stored in the database. Or if a transaction is failed, whether you roll back, that means you undo the changes in the database to the previous state, or you abort the transaction. Okay, these are the two conditions we are following if there are any failures when we are performing transactions in a schedule. Okay, so in the same way, recoverability means when we are performing transaction in a schedule, if there is any failure in the schedule, we have to recover that schedule. Okay, sometimes in a non-serializable schedule it may possible, may not be possible. Okay, suppose you see this example. This is a schedule with two transactions T1 and T2. So here what we are doing, first transaction T1 is reading an item A and updating its value and writing an item A. So when a transaction is performing some operations, we call it is in active state. When it completes its transaction successfully, it is stored temporarily in a state called, in a buffer. The state is called partially committed operations. Okay, transactions. Okay, so these are temporarily stored for some time until we commit this permanently. That means we update permanently stored in the database. Okay, so before permanently storing in the database, what the transaction is doing, it is trying to read an item A where this is temporarily storing in some buffer. in storage area. Okay, that is partially committed. This is not permanently stored till now. Now T2 is trying to read that A value. Okay, now and it does some operation and committed. Okay, but that means it is trying, it is permanently saved in the database. Now but what the T1, it is not permanently stored, but its transaction is failed. There is some failure before permanently storing in the database. So whatever the transaction we have performed in the T2, the A value is read from the transaction T1 which is performed before T1. So if this transaction T1 is fail, we'll say T2 also fail. So there is a requirement whether we can recover this transaction, may not recover this transaction. So recoverability means when this type of failures occur, whether we'll recover the database, we may not recover the database. But here we have to recover this database. If not, the database may live in inconsistent state. Okay, in the next video, this is non-serializability, non-serializable schedules, and that's why we need recovering of schedule. Why? Because non-serializable is a non-serial schedule. It doesn't leave a database in consistency state. So we need to recover. So up to which extent it is possible, we have to recover. Otherwise the database will be in inconsistent state. So we will see different type of non-serializable schedules.